A state program made some key changes.
The Alabama Department of Senior Services handles the elderly and disabled Medicaid waivers that pay.
5 at 5, dozens of Alabama families say they're struggling to make ends meet after a state program made some key changes.
The Alabama Department of Senior Services handles the elderly and disabled Medicaid waivers that pay parents to hire caregivers or be caregivers. Our Shelby County reporter Anjanae Robinson met with a mother who is impacted by this change.
Yeah, that's right, Jonathan. Sarah Susan Lee, a special education teacher as well as a parent to 16-year-old Alyssa Lee, who has Rett syndrome, tells me that the issue started when the Alabama Department of Senior Services switched fiscal agents. And since then, she and several other families have not received pay. Susan Lee and her family have been a part of ADSS Personal Choice Program for 5 years with no issues until now.
I can't leave my child with no care. I have to continue working and logging those hours that I'm supposed to be paid for, and yet we're not getting paid.
Lee, along with 7,000 other families, were notified of the change in November, but they say they didn't get additional information until after the change was made in December.
So the change happened without us being trained, without any information.
Lee says as many families started to scramble, they set up a Facebook page to share information.
Payday was supposed to be January the 12th, and that payday came and went. We started emailing, calling. Those calls went unanswered. I went 7 days with no callbacks, over 6 different calls.
In the Facebook group, some families report getting the money, but it was late.
Our timesheet was in on December 30th. I know somebody whose timesheet was received on January 4th, and they've been paid and we have not.
Lee and several others have sent emails to state reps, ADSS, Acumen, and even the governor seeking help. Right now, they have a GoFundMe to support the families that she says are on the verge of losing power, lights, and food.
Acumen, when we finally get through, they say, oh, just be patient. And when we hear from Alabama Department of Senior Services, they say, oh, just be patient. How long are we supposed to be patient?
I reached out to the Alabama Department of Senior Services, who said in part, we are aware that some Medicaid waiver participants have experienced delays in payment, which Alabama Department of Senior Services deeply regrets. ADSS is working tirelessly to help the former vendor and current vendor process payments as quickly as possible. Now, Lee tells me that best case scenario would be for everyone to receive a paycheck this Friday, but they're not sure if that'll happen. I also reached out to Acumen, who say Acumen has and will continue to make payments for all time that is submitted properly and has an authorization pre-approved by the Alabama Department of Senior Services. We're working around the clock in partnership with ADSS to resolve any ongoing data claims and payroll issues created during this transition. Now, you can, of course, see their full statement from Acumen as well as the Alabama Department of Senior Services in this news story in our WBRC News app. Reporting in Shelby County, Anjanae Robinson, WBRC, Fox News on your side.